All right, week 7 is here. It's not approaching. It's officially here. Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 1:25 p.m. Pacific Time. It's Niners, it's Chiefs. I got John Chapman here today from 49ers Rush, and we're going to present to you the game plan on how to defeat the Chiefs. '49er faithful, what's going on? John Chapman is in the building. The 49ers Rush is in the house. John, what's going on? And tell me, how are these road trips going for you, man, and the crew?
Man, life is good. It's funny because I feel like whenever you travel to all these games and you host events, it's similar. Like, this is what the players feel too. Last week was the hardest week of the entire year and will be. I was struggling. I wasn't sleeping much. I was working 12, 13-hour days, all that stuff, getting ready. But then after Thursday, I got a day off. I got chill. And so now life is great. My coffee tastes amazing. I got extra sleep. I even got some video games in over the weekend. What is that about during football season? I'm feeling great. And so I'm hoping the 49ers also feel that way, because you work hard, then you get that mini bye. That's where the 49ers come out. Chiefs coming off a bye too. Thank you, NFL schedule makers. But I'm excited to talk about this. The road trips are going great, man. We got 3 left. We got at Tampa Bay, at Buffalo, and then we got at Arizona that we got scheduled. And then wherever playoff road games will be there, wherever that is as well.
So I can tell you right now, I'll be at Buffalo.
Ooh.
And as far as now at the playoffs, right? Because wedding season will officially be over. I will no longer be rendering my singing services once football really starts to heat up. Because, football don't start until December. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's when WayneBreezie will be there, full rush, ready to get it kicking, man. All right, ready to get it kicking. Shout out to everybody out there. We got people tuned into the show. Appreciate it. Listen, before you like my joint, go on over to 49ers Rush and make sure you're subscribed to that channel, because that is the GOAT of 49ers content right there. So make sure you go there, and that way you get all the cool John Chapman shows. He is pumping them out too. I've never seen John do this many shows. He's becoming the white James Brown, like literally, like the hardest working man in show business. He's taking that title for sure. John, I love it. I
Get
feel
on up.
good, man.
Get on up.
It's nothing with it. Listen, we got questions already, so this is the thing I like,
best, man. She's so great.
So I want you to address every question that I pick out that pops up in the feed.
Let's
if I can
roll.
get to it. Let's get to it. Sonia, do we think Mason is playing?
I do. I'd probably say 85 to 90% chance he plays. The fact that he was never ruled out in the game on Thursday, the fact that he had his helmet on the entirety of the game, the fact that he came back, even though it was for one play in that second half with the AC joint sprain, got that 8-yard run outside, then was on the sideline with his helmet on. I think that it's a pain tolerance type of a thing. And the 49ers were up so much. Roll with the backups, which was really, really smart. So I do think that I'm starting Jordan Mason in my fantasy. So yeah, Sonia, I do believe Jordan Mason plays.
Part 2, if he doesn't play, who's going to get them snaps? IG, Patrick, PT. PT2, PT Jr.
I think the 49ers want it to be Isaac Guerendo. And obviously he had that huge run. He had 2 or 3 really good runs inside. He had 1 good run outside. That's where he struggles. And so I think they probably want it to be kind of a 60-40 split if Mason didn't play. Isaac Guerendo gets 60, Patrick Taylor gets 40. But man, I put this clip out there. I didn't like it, but I thought it was funny where Isaac Guerendo goes to pass block and just completely falls flat on his face, didn't touch anybody. And then, then they put Patrick Taylor out there. He's more of a passing game guy. And so I think they'll ride with the hot hand. They want it to be Isaac Guerendo, but Patrick Taylor's going to be a little more consistent. But the splash plays, which we saw very evident in that last run, that's what Isaac Guerendo brings.
I think that's why you mix it up, right? Like you keep the mixture going. The potion, you can see Kyle Shanahan in the lab be like, all right, we're going to hit him with some Guerendo. All right, he'll get 2-3 yards per carry. And then we're gonna hit him with some Patrick Taylor, some PT, and then he'll do the same thing, but it's a little different, right? And then they hit you with a bang explosive play. I kind of like it, like, you know what I mean. I actually like it, but prefer that it's just Jordan Mason, 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 Jordan
Bring it
Mason. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you understood where I was going with this. All right, we got this, Breeze. Oh, we got a question from Agency 323. Can someone guard Kelsey? Which is interesting because that was the news that we were going to talk about just for a little bit, because the 49ers did sign a free agent. They signed a veteran safety and Adrian Amos, and I feel like this is why, right? Because the safety play for the 49ers has been, I would say, less than, I was trying to find the right way to say it, a positive way to say something negative. I don't know.
We've had 4 safeties play, and in the words of Dave Chappelle, I wish I had 2 more thumbs. I could give them 4 thumbs down.
I give him 4 thumbs down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know why. You know what? What do you think is the reason or the cause of maybe Jair Brown like declining? I understand from the rookie Malik Mustafa. Was Jair Brown really ready, or was it the fact that we had a veteran in there who covered up a lot of those mistakes?
There's been a lot of miscommunication. So I think there's 3 ways I want to answer this. Number 1, miscommunications aplenty. We are doing so much man coverage, and we don't know how to line up against Tripp's bunch still, and we're in week 6, still an issue. So that's 1. Number 2, Talanoa was handling all of the communication on the back end. He is not there. Even whenever he was out there, there were still issues, but whatever else. And then number 3, we're running so much single high safety. I think we're at 22% that we run a cover 1 type scheme. We have all strong safeties. We have slow safeties. We do not have free safeties. And we're putting our guys in really bad situations. I think Jair Brown's awesome, but you're putting Jair Brown in man coverage. That's not his thing. He is a zone attacking safety. Stop putting him in man coverage. Stop putting him in man coverage. And I know I said we're only doing 22% cover 1. That's down from 33% after week 2. So I think Sorenson's getting a little bit smarter, but it's still anytime there is 3rd and long, Sorenson just hits that button that says cover 1 man. Like so even though we're only doing it 22% of the time, we're doing it on 3rd down consistently. And that is just not what Jair Brown does. That is not what Devondre Campbell does. That is just not who we are. And we're just putting our players in bad situations. It's improving, but it's still there. Still there.
Interesting that you said that, because I was sitting there, I was going through the film this week for the Patreon, and a lot of single high safety. So does it have to always be man coverage out of that? Like, why can't they can't run zone?
You can
with certain positions, or is it too complicated because they have too many young people back there? Like, is it too complicated to grasp that concept, do you think?
It's not. He keeps so Sorenson's like staple belief is, hey, we're gonna bluff zone coverage and then go to man. So we're gonna make you think we're running zone, and then we're gonna do man. That's dangerous.
Yeah, because they don't have the athletes. They don't have the talent. Mm-hmm.
We don't. It'd be different if it's Dre Greenlaw, and if it's Fred Warner, and it's Tayshaun Gibson, and it's Talanoa Hufanga in those man coverages. That's one thing. But you're blitzing a lot of times Fred Warner, or you're spying Fred Warner, which leaves Devondre Campbell in that man situation versus the tight end. Not good. Leaves Jair Brown man coverage. Not good. Malik Mustafa, all right, he should have got burned for one of those touchdowns, but made a great play. It was able to, kind of pry the ball loose. So he's not putting his weakest players in successful positions, in my opinion. It's getting better. And so, like, somebody asked me today, Wayne, like, well, is your confidence increasing in Nick Sorensen or going down? And I was like, it is increasing. Now, I want to say, like, I'm happy with the trends, but my caveat is this. I need to see Nick Sorensen have a good defensive game against a good offensive play caller. You know what I'm saying? Because he got smoked by McVay, and he got smoked by Kevin O'Connell, and then you play some of these kind of poor offensive coordinators. He handled his business. Now you got Andy Reid. So like this test is huge for Nick Sorensen for me, because if you are going to make a change, I'm not saying you should, it's going to take place at the bye week, which is 2 weeks away. But like, man, if Nick Sorensen goes out there and has just a good quality game, all the question marks are completely removed. Not that I think Shanahan would replace him, but if you're going to, that's your window. This game is huge for Nick Sorensen.
I'm trying to just process everything that you said.
I know. Sorry about that. I talked
No. You said some stuff. I felt like you said he got smoked, and he did give up 2 big explosive. The Niners defense gives up explosive plays down the field, like
in the second half on
and the worst opportune times in the game. Like I would just say worst opportune, like right, because the first one was in the first half against the Vikings. That was first half, right? It was almost like Steve Wilkes, but that was a communications thing. I don't know if do you blame Sorensen for that? Or do you blame the players not just communicating, saying, "Oh no, that's where you got that guy," like you know what I mean? Because again, they showed zone and they went to man, and then they were lost in the communication on who was covering him.
Yeah, you're talking about the 97-yard touchdown.
I'm absolutely talking about.
Well, that's 2 safeties on Jordan Jefferson. That's 100% on.
That's on Nick Sorensen.
Why would you do that? Like, you don't draw that up ever.
Well, do you think he had the wrong how hard is it to get your personnel on the field right?
No,
right? Don't you get time? The defense gets time to sub.
You don't even have to sub. You just rotate out. Safety, you're not going to Justin Jefferson's lined up outside, okay? He motions into the slot.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is just they literally tap you'll see Demo do this a lot, and Yadam's probably the best communicator on the field from the cornerback position. You'll see him tap the back of their helmet, which means we're switching. So, like, you'll do this a lot of times. The 49ers do this to other teams when you send Kyle Juszczyk out wide.
Correct.
And so you just swap. So you run the same coverage. You just tap the back of your helmet. The corner goes with Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the game. Now your safety goes out to their number 2, number 3, tight end, running back, whoever's outside. I don't remember on that play. It's very simple. That's just easy. You call on field. But we don't do that too often. We started doing that after the Vikings, but we didn't do that too much beforehand.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm not questioning you saying that it's on Sorensen. I'm just trying to make sure I'm explaining it clearly to everybody that's watching why we're saying that Nick Sorensen needs to be better, because he has to fix that. So I felt like he fixed that, and then here comes trips. The trips bunch to the right. It's always to the right too. If they line up to the left, I don't know. We don't see it, but it's always when it's trips bunch to the right. And so you look at the Los Angeles Rams game. There was that trips bunch to the right where they had the single receiver down over on the left. And so you got Yadam out there, and there was a miscommunication there. No one was covering the flat. And then on the second one, the explosive play down the field, the 2-2 Atwell, the 50-yard play, like, come on. Like, another miscommunication, another not knowing where to be. Like, that's got to be on the coach too, right?
Yep, showing zone. You're bluffing zone, playing man. That's... But you can do that, and the reason why that's such a red flag, a lot of teams do that. The Kansas City Chiefs do that consistently, and they're very good at it with Spagnuolo. But they draft all man cover corners. They draft man safeties. That's the way they build their team. We draft zone guys.
But then we try to play man.
Yes, exactly.
That's the problem.
You play to your strength. You don't bluff your weakness. Bluff your strength and go to your weakness. That's not what you do. You do what you do.
I agree with that, but then that makes me say, well, then we can't fully blame Sorensen.
But he's the one that called it.
But he's getting these pieces, right? Like, they're giving him. He's trying to switch the defense to what his philosophy is, to man up, and he's trying to see how many of these guys got good man skills, man coverage skills, and clearly that's where they're struggling. And maybe that some of the pieces he inherited, and I don't know how much say he had in the pieces in the last draft, because we just don't know. But what if he just has the wrong pieces and he just needs to switch that up? Maybe they start drafting a little bit differently.
That could change,
because we need a safety, like a free safety, like that. That's the key. Yes, yeah. Like, we should have drafted Kalon Bullock out of USC. Like, yeah, that would have been the guy. He went to Houston, and he's having a great season as a rookie, but that would have been your center fielder. Like, that's
I met with him like 3 times too.
And I didn't I mean, maybe he got picked up and he just wasn't on the big board at the time, but that should have been, I never understand. Like, I love the safeties that we have, but we keep drafting the same safeties. And I know we're stuck here at this conversation, but that's the weakness on the defense. It's not the pass rush. It's not that. Listen, they could get better, but it's not the pass rush.
No.
It's in the back end on the communication side. And that's where we're seeing the struggle. So there was one more question, and I promise I'll leave this alone. Let's switch from the safeties. Let's go to the linebackers. We know Devondre Campbell is the worst linebacker on the San Francisco 49ers because they want him to man up, okay? And I think a lot of people don't understand like what he's being assigned to do, and it's just not in his forte to do it well. He's not Dre Greenlaw. He's not athletic. He's not that guy. Okay, we got that, right? Let me ask you this question. Explosive play, first play of the game in Seattle. It's a 30-plus yard gain, 30-yard gain if I'm not mistaken, because Fred Warner was covering him. We're talking about DK. And then he passed him off, and Campbell, this ain't relay. I would have preferred Fred just covering him in man and leaving the other side of the field open, and whoever caught it on that side of the field, fine. But you're not going to – you pass DK Metcalf off to Devondre Campbell? Tell me that's the coordinator, bro.
That's the zone coverage scheme that we're supposed to do. Like, that is the rule book, and it's frustrating. And this is what teams probably the worst I've ever seen that work was the A.J. Brown when he was on the Titans. You remember that game whenever it was like right before Christmas?
Yo, but we were doing good.
Thing, yeah.
Wait, it was good. They had Ambry. I hate to mention this kid's name. Ambry Thomas was having a great game, and then they switched up the scheme. But that wasn't even Nick Sorensen. We can't blame Sorensen for that, right? Like that at that time, who was the defensive coordinator? Wasn't that D'Amico?
It might have been before D'Amico, to be honest with you.
I remember that game. I remember AJ not cooking in the first half and then being an abomination to the San Francisco 49ers because that was on Christmas.
Yeah, it was like
I had
Christmas
COVID
Eve or something.
Yeah, because I was supposed to go to the game and I couldn't go. I raffled off my tickets. I gave my tickets away because I had COVID. I didn't want to travel with COVID because I didn't want to put people in danger. Or I would have went. You know me, man. COVID's a cold. I would have been out there. It's just a bloody wound.
Yeah, it's a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. Just a bloody scratch.
So back to your question, though. Like, I get it. You look at our defense, the 2 worst coverage grade players we have. DFF's the worst. Devondre Campbell's second. The best coverage player we have on our entire team is Fred Warner by a mile. That was D'Amico. That's what Aaron says. Always trust Aaron. And so, yeah, that's a problem. But I don't mind that. If you're in a true zone look, which is the way we build our team, Campbell's not terrible in zone, but against DK Metcalf, he is. Yeah, the goal is, look, they're going to get 1 or 2 of these. Hopefully our pass rush gets there in time. He doesn't have time on that post, dig, the deep dig route to clear all that time. He had the time. They max protected. They hit us. That's a hole in the zone. I care more about that because we're playing to our strength and then beat by man. If they're going to do that, that means Geno's holding the ball 3+ seconds. Eventually, we got to get there. But yeah, every single defense has a vulnerability. And, I think we were in cover 6 on that one. I think we were. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was cover 6.
Okay.
And so when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, so Fred covered him to his zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you got to pass off.
So Fred did the right thing. I just wish Fred for the first time would have did the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. We saw some of that last year against Minnesota when we lost. Remember?
We did.
Fred ran with the coverage. They checked down, and then that huge first down to
TJ Hawkinson. Isn't that crazy? So it's like we're damned if we do.
That's what we do, man. We finish each other's sentences. You know what I mean?
Well, betcha by golly, wow! I had to look at the wall. It's so funny, and the thing that kills me, these are the little things that the 49ers do to beat themselves. And when I write my keys to victory, that's probably going to be my number 1. Like, don't beat yourself. You know, you're going to be playing against a juggernaut. And when I say juggernaut, I don't care how bad the Kansas City Chiefs look. Their record says 5-0, and they find ways to just win games. Doesn't matter if they're gritty. It doesn't matter if they're blowing a team out, which they haven't done yet. But don't let this be that game, because for some reason Andy Reid and Spags, like they get off together at the same time, no pause, no diddy, against the San Francisco 49ers. They just do. They have a thing where they just are in sync. Like the offense is in sync with the defense, and they flip the switch at the right time. Agency 323 says, you know, with Fred's ankle injury, he looked fine to me in the Seattle game, so I'm expecting him to be extra fine in this game.
He's never missed a game. Ever.
Never. Even if he's not 100%, is Fred the guy you're putting on Travis Kelce? I'm curious to know what you think.
You know, I've been pretty consistent with, look, if you are going to do cover one and you are going to do man, put Warner on the best player and then allow Devondre Campbell to blitz. Don't do cover one man and don't blitz. That's my biggest red flag for Sorenson, but whatever. So blitz, Devondre Campbell's good blitzer. Like he's great. So use him in that regard. If you are going to do man coverage, you got to make sure Fred Warner's on Travis Kelce. But like, to be honest with you, the strength of Travis Kelce is against zone. And this kind of goes against a little bit of a nuanced answer here. Like Travis Kelce's number one trait is finding zone coverage in the hole in zone coverage. And just, that's what he does best. But that's okay. I don't care if they beat us that way. Don't give them freebies by putting Devondre Campbell and man on this dude. You want to put a safety on him? I don't mind that. It's not like he's busting all these huge plays. Travis Kelce now is different than Travis Kelce 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever else. But he's coming off a bye week, so might have a little bit of spruce in his step that we're not used to seeing. That's what it is. But yeah, you got to put Fred in man situations, and a lot of things too. We run a very disciplined zone defense or man defense rules. Okay, we line up, we break the huddle. This is my man. But by double motion, we don't pass off a lot of times with our linebackers and safeties. So let's say hypothetically, we call cover one man blitz. What will happen is Fred Warner will line up on Trent Williams. They'll motion, and then what happened is we'll pass our man responsibility off to Devondre Campbell, and Andy Reid will take the matchup that he wants and exploit that by double motion. That's what Shanahan does all the time. Andy Reid does that to our defense all the time as well. And so, man, you can just put a simple call in and just say, look, Kelce, stay. Like, if it's a man coverage, Warner, you just stay no matter where it goes. I doubt Sorenson's going to do that. He hasn't done that, but I would like him to.
He's definitely a work in progress, right? He's learning on the fly. And we take our lumps, we take our bruises, you know, when it comes to what Nick Sorensen is doing. Also, he's dealing with a lot of injuries, you know, and so he's trying to get these players out there. So I give him a little bit of grace, but he's got to be better. Like you said, this is his biggest test. If he passed this test, he's the best defensive coordinator we've had, because not one has beaten this team.
There you go. I mean, that's the thing. Like, yeah, the Chiefs are 5-0. Like, you got to understand that. They're one of two undefeated teams. But if you've watched any of the Chiefs games this year, like, they're not that same 2019 last year Chiefs. Like, they're tough. You said, like, they just find ways to win. A lot of that's the refs helping in crunch times. But Patrick Mahomes, third down, fourth downs, games on the line, he's number 15, and he's the same number 15 he's always been, even without the people that he's got out there. But they're not a good first, second quarter team. They're not a good third quarter team. They're a great fourth quarter team, which the 49ers is kind of the opposite.
Yeah, they're like not a good fourth quarter team, right? And so that's the difference, right? So the Chiefs will do what they got to do to hang in there, and then they know how to finish.
Yep.
100%. And the 49ers, they get out, they get open, they get in front, and they can't close. And so that's the difference. And every time we play them, those are the results.
Every time.
Every time. And at least the two times in the Super Bowl. I feel like the other two times we lost Jimmy Garoppolo early, so that was that game. And then the second time we played them, it was close in the first half. I think it was 13-10. And what happened? Can you remember? Because I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, I remember exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm going to
Trey
go
Greenlaw got hurt at the half.
He got hurt.
We put DFF out there, and every single run play, every single pass play was straight at DFF, and they just abused the hell out of that dude the entire second half. We had no things.
See,
guess what happened to the Super Bowl?
Trey Greenlaw got hurt. Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Yep, for sure. So let's talk about that. And I do want to talk a little bit about Adrian Amos and his addition to the 49ers. And will he play? Will he not play? Did they sign him to the roster? Did they sign him to the practice squad? I don't know, but we'll figure it out. No Dre Greenlaw,
squad, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember if they signed him to the practice squad or the active roster. They do have one extra spot, if I'm not mistaken. Let's talk about Greenlaw not being here. The Niners, for now, do you think that they can find a way to prepare? And it's hard to not have your guy out there, your best coverage guy out there. It's hard to not have him out there. But do you think the Niners figure out a way, opposed to throwing somebody in there on the fly? Like, who's going to be able to replace this Greenlaw factor, especially in coverage and going from sideline to sideline?
Yeah, I mean, you drafted D. Winters and have developed D. Winters to be that guy. I mean, he's Drake Greenlaw's size and mean and effort and all that stuff, but way faster, way more athletic. So, that's who it should be. Now, you went out and you signed Devondre Campbell to kind of patchwork with the veteran, whatever else, but the transition started last week. We saw it. Seattle, they brought Campbell off. They put D. Winters out there. And I think we're going to see it more this week. Now, DFF's back. He has been the worst player, offense, defense, that's suited up for the 49ers special teams. He's been terrible. How is he going to be coming off this injury? Seems like he's back now. He's a coverage guy. But like I said, he's got the worst coverage grade of any player that's taken a snap for the 49ers this year. It should be D. Winters. And so your linebacker should be Fred Warner 1, D. Winters 2, Devondre Campbell coming in 3 sets. And whenever you play the Chiefs, well, guess what? They do 12 and 13
personnel. More
than anybody. That's 1 running back, 2 or 3 tight ends. So you're going to be in your base situation. We're not going to see a lot of Yadam. We will, but you're going to see a lot more Campbell and D. Winters, hopefully, not DFF. Hopefully not DFF.
And see, that's interesting because why do I get the feeling that they're going to do the exact opposite?
Well, a lot of teams have against us.
Which will probably hurt them. So you're looking for 12 and 13 personnel, and right, which is what we normally get from the Chiefs. That's their game plan. They bring out 2 tight ends, Noah Gray, and I forgot their other tight end, but they bring out these guys, right? And so, especially around the goal line, you'll get a lot of that. And so, what if they do the exact opposite? What if they come up with a lot of 3 wide receiver sets? Because they're gonna want to feature Xavier
Jared Wiley's their third. Sorry,
Jared Wiley, yeah, TCU. They want to feature Xavier Worthy, right? That's the guy. And now with the addition of Juju Smith-Schuster, that might be the key. There might be 3 wide, and Justin Watson. Can't forget about him because I'm tired of number 84 catching passes, and I'm like, who the fuck is 84? He should be a tight end. He's a wide receiver. They might come out in a lot of nickel packages. Would that be best in the 49ers' favor?
I think so. I do. And I know people probably are going to get upset by me saying this. Isaac Yadam is the second best corner we have on our team.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I just want to see green. Yeah. So I don't know.
Too.
Yeah. I didn't want to. I don't know why people will get upset with you. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but every time I watch Yadam on the field, on the film, he makes a couple of mistakes, but there's a lot of PBUs. He's breaking up these passes. He's playing really good coverage. You asking him to cover DK Metcalf, he does it. One of the first plays of the game where he breaks up that pass. He doesn't touch it, but his dive prevents that ball from happening. He breaks up a pass down the field. I don't get it, but the issue is he gets a penalty in the Reds in the end zone, which gives them plays, but the defense still only held them to 3 points. Yeah. So they might have scored, but they didn't score. So yeah, he got the penalty. But we can't fault him because the defense still found a way to keep them from getting 7. So I'm with you. He's number 2. I think Bernardo Green is number 3, and then Charvarius Ward.
Climbing. Number 3 and climbing.
Right.
And if somebody wants to say Bernardo Green's number 2, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get what people are seeing other than the negative in Yadam, but I want Green on the field. Why? I just feel like he just gets football, today's football. That's the difference.
We don't have a lot of young dudes out there either. Like, you need some of that youthful energy that's just, hey, man, I'm going to show up against their best player, get a pick at the most opportune time, make those plays. And, like, I love Charvarius Ward. He's been one of my favorite players on this team for the past few years. He ain't it this year. And him coming off an injury, man, we have seen him do that several times. It has never been good. Well, I'm sure they'll go with Charvarius, but they should not.
I got a conspiracy theory, though.
Uh-oh. I like this.
Let me get my drama.
I got 10.
What if this is all by design and the Niners, Demo prices himself out of San Francisco? Damn it, John, you ain't supposed to be shaking your head. Yes. How is it that you know my conspiracy theory already? I didn't finish saying it. It was like, you know it. What if Demo is pricing himself out because he's the younger guy and this is discount time for the Niners in the cornerback department? You got the young guys coming in. Ronaldo Green's going to be replacing. Darrell Luter Jr. I want to see more out of as well. So you got these young guys. What if that's what's happening right now?
And so you're trying to get C Ward, for
the discount double check.
I'm cool with it if he's healthy. And my problem has been he just is not trying to support in the run game. He's kind of not making business decisions, but I've never seen that number 7 play before. And it's just changed this year. And if it's injuries, I get it. So that kind of goes with that. But, man, I need to see. I don't want to bring this guy back right now. There's no.
He's not good. He's not
But
good.
if he returns to the energy level, confidence, all that stuff, because I love Charvarius Ward. I wish he was at every press conference. He's like one of my favorite people to talk.
Very smooth. He's like the distinguished gentleman.
Oh, there we go. Eddie Murphy.
Murphy. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Man, you didn't shoot those ducks. They died from a heart attack.
You and your lines, bro. You know every freaking movie. I love it, man. You watch way too much TV.
It's bad. It's bad.
Maui, this game would be a great test for the youth of this defense. Let them all play and learn from any clicks they take. Winters, Green, Mustafa, all need to play. Just his opinion. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want the youth moving. I don't think Mustafa's going to play. I think that's why the Adrian Amos signing happened. It was to the practice squad.
It was.
And so you might call him up. You might, I don't know. You called up the other safety, Jalen Mahoney, that they really like. He made some special teams errors that really hurt the team. That's why your kicker got hurt. So I don't know. Maybe you get that veteran presence. But, your starting safeties, in my opinion, should be Odom. It should be Hufanga this game with Mustafa out. Call up Adrian Amos, get him some veteran, snaps. He can come in if you need him to. But, oh, man, I want Mustafa out there. I think this week would be huge for him. But if he's banged up.
Does Jair Brown return to form against Patrick Mahomes in this game? Let him play back safety. Let him play the deep guy in cover one. And move Odom up, even though Odom has some PBUs last week. Nick, what's going on? Hey, my bros, I'm ready for this game and want you guys in the sidelines helping us out. Y'all on point as usual. Appreciate you, broski. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. All right, let's get to this game plan. Any thoughts on Amos? I mean, he's a vet. He's been in the league since 2015, started his career with the Chicago Bears. It made his name known, though, for the Green Bay Packers. And then he played in two teams in 2023s with the Jets and with the Texans, or whatnot.
But he was the safety with Tayshaun Gibson. They were the starting safeties.
They were the starting safeties for the Bears. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so listen, you're getting, like you said, veteran presence. I actually, he's a great tackler. I actually like him. I don't know if he'll be up to par, but I think he's going to be the guy called up. Jalen Mahoney, done. And he was an undrafted kid, and so of course he was going to make some mistakes. But what was the other safety? Tracy Walker III. Did they use all his elevations? Is that why?
No. He could go back. I don't think he's played any defensive snaps at all.
I thought he had a defensive snaps the first elevation. Didn't get any the second time he was elevated, if I'm not mistaken. I thought he had some defensive snaps, or maybe that was just in the preseason.
He's got no defensive snaps on the year. Maybe he got some special team snaps.
Maybe he didn't. I was thinking preseason. That's why. And remember, he was a guy that
They didn't put him out there. He got none on PFF.
So do you think it's the rotation now? You got 3 safeties there. I think they're not done on Jalen Mahoney, but he had his opportunity. So now they're going to rotate. If Amos is ready, who are you bringing up, Amos or Walker?
Probably Walker because he's been there longer, but I mean, you just brought in Amos. You just brought him in. He didn't even get the full. So I'm not pulling up Amos.
Right.
I would prefer Walker or Mahoney. I'm a big Jalen Mahoney guy. He didn't shine well in his spot that he had, but I would pull those two up because they know the situation. They know the team. I get Adrian Amos is a vet, but one more week, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any of these. I don't like this.
It's crazy, but listen, you're getting a guy with career wise, and just get this guy's he's a guy, career wise.
He's been on the street. He's been on the street. So
he has been on the streets. Last time we got a guy off the street, it was
and that ain't good.
The last time we got a guy off the street, it was a safety.
Yeah, and he was all right. It took him a little while to get there.
You think it took Tayshaun Gibson a little while to get there?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Logan Ryan. My bad.
No, you're right, because he was the last time he was the guy we got off the boat. Like literally on a cruise. Hey man, come on in here.
FOB, fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. So you're right. But now I was thinking Gibson, his old partner. So who knows, man? Who knows what he's gonna do this week? But we'll see. I hope you're wrong about my man Mustafa. I hope it was a low ankle sprain, bro. Low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. And they're home.
We need him.
I feel like on grass he'll play.
I like him much more than the other safeties in this game. Personally.
Absolutely.
I like it. Now, the missed tackles are always going to be there with him, but I think he brings just so much juice. Like this team, the Kansas City Chiefs turn the ball over a lot. And their running back, Carson Steele, has 3 fumbles. Like, I want somebody that's going to pop that dude. He's a bigger back, kind of a fullback, kind of Kyle Juszczyk type guy. Go hit that dude. I want turnovers. That's how the 49ers are going to get ahead in this game. Turn the damn ball over.
Yep, and they just got to secure those turnovers. I'm thinking forced fumbles. I'm thinking interceptions, because that's the thing, man. Patrick Mahomes, doesn't he have like 9 interceptions on the year so far?
He got 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's turning the ball over a lot. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. The crazy thing is they're winning games.
Still winning.
Let's get to this game plan, John. I'm excited to hear what you got to say. Let's start 49ers offensively. You're going against, a top 10 defense as far as total yards or whatnot. But how do the 49ers prepare for this Kansas City defense? They did lose one of their key secondary pieces in L'Jarius Sneed and free agency.
Huge.
But
Huge.
Does that affect the way that defense is playing under Steve Spags?
They're still playing amazing, man. I think the defense is far better than the offense. I have their defense as a top 5 unit for sure. Now, the way that they're doing it, they're blitzing like crazy. That's a Spags thing. They're playing a lot of man coverage. Anytime you hear man coverage, the D in Debo stands for disappear a lot of times. Can he show up? Against the Chiefs, a lot of times in man coverage. Like I'll say this, Debo had a great game last week. He's a captain of this team. The energy that Debo's putting out there, blocking, everything is just A1. However, I think the Super Bowl was his worst game of his entire career. And so we've seen Debo. How does he respond to those situations? I'm hoping somebody opens up and gives him some bulletin board material. I want Debo talking trash. I want Debo starting fights. I want Debo being that Debo, snatch your chain Debo, not trying to beat man covers. That ain't his thing. So manufacture some touches, put him in the backfield, whatever else, that's huge. Now, the one thing that I will say, the last 2 games, they have stuffed the run completely. Neither the Chargers or the Saints, who the Saints run the same offense we do, got over 225 yards against this team. So Like, the 49ers get 500 plus yards almost like they did against the Seahawks. That's going to be a little difficult. I don't think we're going to get all those first downs and all that stuff. You've got to make your opportunities count much more so than you have in the past in the red zone. Got to do those things. Establish the run, play actions, all those things. Can Jake Brindle get the right line protection calls? That is a concern. That is a major concern. So you're going to take some sacks. Just don't turn the damn ball over. Can't turn the ball over. Got to get touchdowns. Get Debo involved somehow. Please get Debo involved somehow. Run some pick routes, man. I wish we did that. We never do that.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, you said that Debo, he had his worst game in the Super Bowl, and he did. He did statistically. Like, targeted 11 times, 3 receptions, if I'm not mistaken. He was D'd up by McDuffie as well as Snead, so they just were rotating the man coverage. He's not the best man beater when it comes to that coverage, but we also didn't run the right plays for him. You were throwing the ball to him down the field. You were throwing fade routes into the end zone. Yeah, certain wide receivers. I mean, that's a wide receiver route for sure. We talk about Deebo Samuel, who makes a living and got his name literally from being a wide back. So this is not even about running the ball out of backfield. What happened to the slip screens? What happened to these little quick throws where Debo catches the ball on an angle and he's running into space and making people miss? Like, what happened to that design? That's my question. Why is Debo being misutilized?
Well, I mean, we even saw it in the Seattle game, right? It was like 3rd and 18, and so they call a Debo screen almost like, oh, well, we'll just do a Debo screen. He gets like 15 yards. It's like, why can't we do this? Why do we have to wait till it's 3rd and long all the time?
Like, what happened though? Like, what is Kyle, in your eyes, what is Kyle Shanahan seeing? Because that's the question that I'm asking.
So, like, if you go back to the Vikings game, if you put Debo in the slot, which is where we kind of like to have him for those slip screens, and there's a wide 9 to Debo's side, right? Think about in the 4th quarter where they do that slip screen and Van Gimmel or whatever his name is jumps out. Like, you could take that away. A lot of teams don't do that on 3rd and long. So, like, but you can motion them across and do the same thing from the opposing side. You've got to manufacture ways to get Debo involved outside of man coverage. Now, what Spags does is he's going to rotate a safety over Ayuk. This is what he's done several times. And you make Brock Purdy's hot read versus the blitz be Debo, not Kittle, not Ayuk. You make that hot read be Debo, and then you just man up coverage that way. So when Brock Purdy has an overload blitz, my automatic hot call is man coverage. Debo doesn't win those battles. So maybe you do a little bit more Jennings and Debo out there because Jennings can win those matchups. Ayuk can win those matchups. Kittle can win those matchups. That's just not Debo's strength. But Spags is so good that he can manipulate to where, man, blitz is coming. My hot read has to be this. That's Debo. And, the Super Bowl, that didn't happen. Purdy was actually putting the ball in some really good spots. Just Debo lost every single 50-50 ball. That was kind of the issue. Is that going to be the case this day? Because Spags is going to do it. He's had 2 weeks. They had a bye week. The 49ers had 10 days to prepare this game. Yeah, the Chiefs had 14.
14. Yeah. It's just tough, man. It's a tough thing to to grasp. Like, we all see or we all know, and that Debo's struggles in man is just what he is or who he is. But he's starting to get better in man. It depends on who the man is. It depends on the team. But I'm starting to see him beat man coverage now. And the question is, like, if Debo, my thing is this: if I'm the coach, I need to call a play to Debo's strength so that he can enforce his will. Because once he does that, he's beating every coverage. I don't give if you call triple man, zone 3, 17, 40. It doesn't matter. Once Debo realizes, once he realizes he's a giant mentally, it's a wrap. And
but
so,
if he doesn't get going,
it's a struggle.
It gets worse and worse and worse.
Clank. You know what I mean? Nigel says, dope question. Now, this is the only thing that got the 49ers going in the Super Bowl. Now, I do want to put this out there. Do we see any trick plays? Maybe Jennings TD pass. Do we see a Debo pass this time?
Debo could throw the ball. I would not be shocked. Kyle Juszczyk would be mine. So, like, my thing would be we're using Kyle Juszczyk as this third down back. And as soon as we do it, the teams, you'll see them. Oh, Kyle Juszczyk, they back
They
up
back
because
up.
there's no threat to the run game whatsoever. Man, double pass Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah, that. Yeah, and again, I never put these video clips out there, but nobody watching like whatever I put the clips out there on Twitter. Like I don't do that. But in training camp, back-to-back years, they have practiced a Brock Purdy hand the ball off to Kyle Juszczyk, throw back to Purdy on the wheel route over here. They practice it all the time. So if there is a trick play, I want to see it at some point. This is the perfect time. Yeah, hand off to Kyle Juszczyk, throw Purdy on the wheel route, the leak out the backside. Yes. I'm with you, Nigel.
The Kansas City Chiefs are ranked currently 5th in scoring. They have the 5th scoring defense, fifth ranked scoring defense right now. They're only giving up 17 points per game. The Niners, though, have been able to score above that. They're averaging a little bit higher than that 17. With the defensive,
every time we score 17, we lose. We know
every time exactly. Every time we score 24, I feel like we lose, right? And so we gotta get this ball up into the 30s. Can the Niners offense get into a rhythm? We possibly will have a kind of banged up Jordan Mason, and that's the run game because you said establish the run. But how do you establish the run if you don't have your leading rusher at full strength, knowing that they're ranked also freaking 5th in run defense? Like they're only giving up 88.4 yards per game. So the Niners run the ball. That's what we do. That's what we should be doing. But if they force us and take away the run and force us to be one-dimensional, how can this offense find a way to get going other than Debo? They got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's going to be hard. It's going to have to be Brock Purdy scrambles. It's going to have to be, Kittle breaking tackles. You're going to have that. And so you cannot get away from the run. And I wish we would run in unexpected situations. Probably my biggest critique of Kyle Shanahan. Like we had that one run on 3rd and 2 last week it was Patrick Taylor Jr. Like I was going bananas, man. Everybody's like, I was in the stadium. I went nuts, man. And I was the only one. And everybody's like looking at me, and I was like, "Run the ball, damn 3rd down!" And like, oh, I don't care if it's 3rd and 6, you can run the ball. Like run in inopportune times. That is how you take advantage of those situations.
What if you get 5 yards on a 3rd and 6? Now it's a 4th and 1.
It's not a negative play. You're not getting sacked.
But that's what turnover. No. I wasn't being negative in saying that. My point is now you have the option to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and inches, force their defense to make a play. If they make it, oh well. You know what I mean? It's 50-50 at that point, especially if it's the first one. But that's what I'm saying. Like, run it when they're not expecting it. And we got to be careful. And I don't know how much you talk about this. We got to be careful with this personnel groupings. Like, don't give it away with the personnel. Like, don't have 3 wide receivers out there and you got Debo in the backfield and you got 1 running back out there, because now they're going to automatically know, Debo's going to run this ball or they're not, like, switch it up, Kyle. Switch that up. Switch your groupings up. Make them have to guess what you're really trying to do, opposed to already knowing, we've seen this before. We know what this is going to be. You know what I mean? Even if they do come out in 11 personnel and you got what's name in the backfield, Debo, we see the 49ers spread it out every single time they empty the set. Now let Debo go out in motion and force their defense to have to figure out what to do. It just be little things. Let's flip the script to the defense, man. I don't want to say too much on the offense, because the defense needs to figure out a way to keep Patrick Mahomes from Patrick Mahomesing. And they don't have a great ranked total offense this year, right? No, they just don't. I mean, they're top 15 as far as total yards, but as far as points, they're averaging about 23.6 points per game. So, like, how do you keep them from being dynamic? How do the 49ers defense keep this team from opening up a can of whip ass?
The number one thing that the 49ers have to do this week is tackle. Number
13 missed tackles last week.
We are, I think, 26th ranked in the NFL in tackling. That's number one. This Chiefs offense, they're missing their top 3 weapons. Their running back, Pacheco, out. Hollywood Brown, who they traded for, out. Rashee Rice, the racer, speed racer, he's out. Like, they're piecing guys together. And so what they're doing is basically they changed their game plan and they're saying, look, we're going to dink and dunk. We're going to screen. This is the highest percent of screen plays I've ever seen in the NFL. All they do is throw screens. That's it. That's all they do. You look, 19% of their play calls this season have been screens behind the line of scrimmage. That's an Andy Reid staple, but it's even more than Andy Reid. You go back to the Andy Reid Eagles. With Brian Westbrook. You remember like all those? Like, it's even more than that. So they're basically saying we're not going to lose games. We're going to dink and dunk down the field. Third down, we're just going to let 15 be 15, and we're just going to move forward and keep the game close. We'll win it in the end. The refs will help us, or Patrick Mahomes goes Super Saiyan. That's been their recipe. So if you tackle on all those behind the line of scrimmage passes and check downs and whatever else, you're going to be okay. If you got missed tackles, that's kind of the way they have built this offense and how they're operating. You got to tackle this week.
But the Niners don't defend the screen well.
No, we do not.
So this Chiefs team is starting to remind me of how that New England Patriots team used to be when all they did was screen it up. And so they got to be able to take away the screen. And how do they do that? How do they recognize that the screen is about to be called? I thought, I saw some good containment from Robert Bill last week. Do we see an increase in his snaps? He was out there containing and setting the edge. He was the reason why we were able to get that tackle for a loss on Kenneth Walker. It wasn't a screen, but it was just being in the backfield, because that's what the screen is. Like, you got to find a way to slip through them big ass linemen, get you behind in the backfield, and set that edge to prevent that guy from just turning up the field on a screen pass. If the Niners are struggling with that, and we're not talking running back screens.
No, they'll run screens to tight end, number 2 tight end, 3 tight end, slot wide receiver, number 2. Like, they have a play call from every formation for every single person to get something behind the line of scrimmage. That's just Andy Reid. He's always had that. It's just what he does. So you've got to be careful with that. And then whenever you're paying attention to the screen, shout out to Rusty in the chat. Like, if you're going to take away those short passes, you can't let them behind you. And that's where the fastest person in the NFL, the history of the NFL, comes in. Hook 'em horns, Xavier Worthy. You cannot let him get behind you. Now, Patrick Mahomes, they're not throwing the ball. They only have 8 deep ball pass attempts all year. That's it. They're not throwing the ball deep.
No, but it just seems like when they do, they've probably been successful on 2 of the 8. I feel like
and all 8 of those were 40-yard pass.
Oh, okay.
There's no 20-yard pass. We're behind the line.
It's the bomb.
Behind the line, 50 yards downfield, right? So they try to get that chunk. And that's what Xavier Worthy does.
Yeah, and that's my issue. Also, they still have McCole Hardman, who caught the deep pass against us, right, in the Super Bowl, right? Didn't we forget about him in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Right, and that was on Jair Brown, right? Remember, he just didn't know, like, oh shoot. So these are the things that I'm concerned about, and we know that the Niners defense are going to give up explosives. So one of my things is to find a way to limit those explosive plays. I honestly don't, Patrick Mahomes is sackable, but listen, man, like, be careful, because he's going to find a way. He's the king of extending plays. So how do you go ahead?
What's funny is, like, as you're talking, I'm like, look, the 49ers defense is designed
to beat
this offense.
Every single time.
The way we're designed to beat it. The problem is when you have the best quarterback in the NFL. Now, I understand Patrick Mahomes hasn't played that way this year.
Nah, dog. They 5-0. I know that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Can't say that the defense got them 5-0, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes get the ball 15 at the end of the game and closes it out. And they probably got the best kicker in football in Harrison Butker.
Second best. But
who's best?
Aubrey. But yeah, I mean, he's up there. He's more consistent. He doesn't have the leg, but like, he does have the leg. He's amazing. They're the 2 best. Yeah. I don't like them, but they're the 2 best.
So like, they gotta figure out how to limit Patrick Mahomes' explosive plays. If they're dinking and dunking, which is the Niners' staple, you live with it. and then you force them to find a way to get it in the red zone. But don't give up the 60-yard play, the 40-yard play, because you said, excuse me, the biggest play was 40 yards down the field.
That's about what they throw. Like, they have the least amount of explosives. Their third fewest explosive
that's
plays
because
in the NFL.
they didn't play us yet. That's my point. Like, this is where I don't want to say that the Niners are the get right team, but teams will test the San Francisco 49ers. For some reason, they will go against something that they've never done before, and they would test us. And then we fail. Every single time we have failed it, you know? And I'm not just saying because we haven't beat them. I'm talking about any team. You got we had Matthew Stafford throw a 50-yard pass down the field. We knew that he would do that, but we knew he was going to do it, and we still couldn't stop it. So we know Patrick Mahomes we know he doesn't have a weak arm, right? We know he's going to look to get the ball down the field, especially if we're playing man coverage. We're showing zone, and then we slip to man.
This is the most non-man week ever in the history of non-man defenses to call. Don't run man. Don't do it. If you're blitz at 6, cool. But you don't do it. Mahomes hasn't had the best year statistically or whatever. The only place he's been lights out is against the blitz. Don't.
That's my point. So play coverage. play coverage and live with what happens. You know what I mean? Just play coverage. The Niners got to just play defense. You talked about missed tackles, and that's the pet peeve of mine. Like, you have no idea how my skin boils and flames. I feel like hot water is being poured over my skin. Boiling hot water when there's missed tackles, because that's fundamentals. It's not like these guys are being elusive. It's not like Jordan Mason and he's making people miss. We're literally hitting the guy and not wrapping and tackling. So the fundamentals, man, that's where it starts. Starts fundamentally. Defense will have a tough, tall task against the Kansas City Chiefs. But listen, why do I feel like this team can get it done? I believe that the Niners can get it done. I know we haven't beat them, but I believe we can get it done.
Whenever I coached, my thing was always, look, you watch NFL games and refs make mistakes. You watch college, they make mistakes. So at high school, they're going to make mistakes. And it's easy whenever a bad call or something happens for everybody to get pissed off. And I would always say, look, if we leave this game as close that the refs can be a deciding factor, that's on us. The 49ers have to operate that way. You're not going to get the calls. It's Taylor Swift. It's Patrick Mahomes. They're going to get the calls. Don't let it be that way. The 49ers are going to be up really big in the first half. We're a first half team. They're a second half team. Don't let it get close enough like you have against the Seahawks. You held that one off like you did against the Rams, like you did against the Cardinals. Don't let it get in that situation. You can't let them have hope. And the refs have given them that hope over and over again. You can't let them do that. You've got to handle your business. That's what it is. 49ers can win this game.
They can win this game. They just got to they got to bring their A game and be on their A game for the majority of the game. And I have a good feeling that the offense and the defense will be on their A+ game, which we hope can help out the special teams, which I still feel is the weakest link. The addition of getting DFF back, do you feel any better, John?
No.
On special teams, just special teams. Not okay. Damn.
He's our worst rated special teams player. He's been awful all year.
How? When that's
the highest rated missed tackle thing on special teams, on defense. He's our worst coverage guy. No, he hasn't been good at all at any point in training camp, in preseason, in the regular season. Defense, no. DFF is no.
How do you go from being an ace on special teams?
He never was an ace. He never was.
Say less.
He was good, but nah.
Okay, I just felt like that's where he made his name, and when he had to come in and fill in due to an injury, he flashed.
He's a huge locker room guy, and he's Fred Warner's bestie. Johnny Holland loves him. Brian Schneider loves him, and that's valuable, but not as a starter. He is not a starter. He is a special teams player, sure, but he's no Kurtz. I'm not gonna say it.
Let's entertain these rumors before we dip up out of here. John with the game plan once again. I hope you guys took notes. And if you decide to borrow anything from this show, make sure you let everybody know where you got it from. You know what I mean? Hassan Reddick, Max Crosby, Micah Parsons. Guys probably demanding trades. They want to go to a winner. They want to win. The Niners are built to win. Do you see the Niners, November 2nd, we talked about the trade deadline on your show. Do you see the Niners making a splash at the trade deadline for an edge rusher? Or where does John see the team actually going? I know you have your thing with Kyle Shanahan, but that's not a splash. I want to know if they're going to splash for a player like a Christian McCaffrey-esque type player to help them out.
It's possible. I don't think it's anybody that's out right now. So Hassan Reddick, I'm saying no. If I'm bad at this, but I'm just going to give my opinion. You asked my opinion. If the Jets trade Hassan Reddick to an NFC team, they have to give a second rounder to the Eagles. If the Jets trade Hassan Reddick to an AFC team, they have to give a third round pick to the Eagles. He's not going to an NFC team, period. Because you might be able to get a third or a fourth back tops for Hassan Reddick right now, whatever. So that's not happening. Okay. Then you go to who was the number 2 up there? I think Max Crosby.
It was Max Crosby. Yes.
Okay. 1, he already came out and said he don't want to be traded to the Niners. 2, the last time they had an edge rusher, the Raiders, we offered more and they traded him to the Bears because the Raiders don't want to trade to the Niners. There's already bad blood there. So that's why I said no. I would love to get Max Crosby. I would totally call and see if I could. I love Max Crosby. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Micah Parsons, no way in hell. The Cowboys are trading away Micah Parsons. 0% chance that takes place. Is he an amazing player? Yes. Is he a good person? Hell no. Would I love to have him on this team? Yes. Do I want him on this team? No. I don't think it's happening, but I don't think, Jerry, you would have to offer 3 firsts plus for Micah Parsons and pay him record number contracts. I don't think the Niners can bring on another huge contract for this next offseason, personally.
So, splash at any other position possibly?
Man, you never trade linemen. That's what I would want to do. Defensive tackles you can get. Man, could you trade for a safety? It's a possibility.
Or do you see what you got in the veteran that you brought in? Because if you're trading for a safety, there's only a few safeties WayneBreezie is trading for.
I could see the Patriots grabbing one of their guys. The Patriots got some safeties. I know we just played them. Man,
the only safety I would want is
now.
Yeah, you can't now because he's yeah. But that was the only one I wanted.
Dude, I'll take Duggar. I
don't like Duggar's another box guy.
Safety. Yeah. I mean, we're talking through it. These are the conversations that happen, though.
If it was Peppers, if Peppers didn't do what Peppers did, it would be Peppers for me because that is the splash that they need. They just need a wild card piece, man. They need a wild card piece, and it doesn't affect the development of the young guys. It's just that's what they're missing in that secondary. A team like that will fear to throw the ball over the middle of the field because the safety not going to bite on the run. That's the issue. We be biting. Our safeties bite. They bite so hard. Every time it's play action, they go straight to the run.
They do. They sell out, and I get it, but it's just man, really? What? I don't know. What about Tennessee?
Who you looking for from Tennessee, dog? I mean,
Quandre Diggs, man.
We should have got him. Wasn't he a free agent?
Yeah.
And we didn't go after him.
Quandre Diggs would be nice. He's the 15th rated safety vet. He's a Longhorn. I know I'm biased, but he kind of fits. If they lose some more games, I could see that. Yeah.
It's safety.
One more. Can I do one more?
Absolutely.
Harold Landry,
the old
third.
Now that is a savvy vet.
That's who's
still playing at a high level, in my opinion.
He's so good. I loved him coming out of Boston College. I had a first round grade on him. He went the second, and he has just delivered. Like that would be from the Titans. Yeah, I like that. And they still got Arden Key over there. Why not go get Arden Key? I'm biased. I love Quandre Diggs. I love his whole family, man. That dude, yes.
They had the opportunity to get him. Look. Aaron be on one. Like, look at this.
We're consistent.
Hey, man, 100% consistent, and we not going to change our for nobody.
We're about to tear up Georgia. That's
Go
what Texas
blue.
is about to do.
You better. Oh. You better, because if not, I'm gonna come for you. This is not my team season,
Dude,
so I
can still top 5 even if we do lose.
I can talk. I can come for teams because my team is. We got our championship.
Who's Michigan got this week?
It doesn't even matter. They got Illinois. You know what I mean?
Illinois is good.
They're really good. Speaking of, oh man, it's some guys from Illinois that I just wish we would have drafted. Like,
oh dude, they had so
Witherspoon. Yeah. Anyway, John, what a great show, man. You always bring it. You bring the plan, and it's always on point. Everybody give John a round of applause, man. Hand claps in the chat. Make sure you guys like this joint. If you're watching, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Don't forget to check out 49ers Rush on YouTube as well. It'll be in the description of the show. John, we're winning this game, John. I have us losing this game in my predictions because, I'm just smart. But I got a feeling. I'm on my Black Eyed Peas shit right now.
There we go. I got a feeling.
Woo! I just got a feeling, bro. Like, why? No Christian McCaffrey and the Niners go out there and beat the Chiefs. How crazy is that?
That'd be awesome, man. I'll tell you this. If I'm in that building, I am every huddle we break, every practice, every weight room, every team meeting. Tackle on 3, tackle on me. 1, 2, 3. Tackle. Like, that's how we're breaking everything down. Tackle, tackle, tackle.
Look, man. Ricky Pearsall playing this week. Tanisha says, Debo said Ricky will be on the field this Sunday in warm-ups. She didn't put that part in there, though.
Yeah, I doubt he's activated. There's no reason to rush it because, well, the sad thing is this would be the perfect game for Ricky because they play so much man coverage. He's a man coverage beater.
For sure.
But I don't think so. I don't think so. I want him to be, but I think slow, just methodical. Remember, he missed all of training camp with that shoulder and hamstring, then the shot. And so just slow, build confidence.
And if I can just offer any advice to the faithful out there, let's be consistent because we all know players that miss time aren't good. I don't care who they are. Doesn't matter now, right? Doesn't matter if you're Trent Williams. Doesn't matter if you're Brandon Ayuk. If you're missing time to get acclimated to the 49er way, plays, conditioning, it takes time. So I don't think you need to have them up here and ready to go. You got a bunch of wide receivers. Utilize those guys and just find ways to keep the drives alive. Keep these plays alive, man. Brock Purdy, I want long, sustainable drives, finishing in touchdowns. Like, that's what you want. That's what you need. And I believe they can go out there and do that, John. I really do. Take us home, bro.
Man, this team, the 49ers are a better team. They're favored.
They're always the better team.
They are. It's just, are they the better coaches? That's where it gets different. I do think that their coaching staff is, and I think the 49ers have a great coaching staff, but they're not Andy Reid and Spagnuolo. They're not there, but we'll see. Well, hopefully they'll get there. Took Andy Reid 20 plus years and having the best quarterback in the NFL before ever won a Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. Now, tackle this damn game. Go out there. Don't beat yourself. No mistakes. Tackle consistently. The 49ers could win this game. That's what it is. Wayne, thank you so much for letting me be on your channel, the chat. Bumping. Let's go, Niners. Let's get that dub. Until next time, stay strong, faithful.